Hello and welcome to Prairie Pulse. Coming up a little bit later in the show, we'll profile jewelry artist Shelley Finsky. Well, but first, joining me now to discuss a new book, The Psalms of King David, is Tim Murphy. Tim, thanks so much for joining us today.
Good to see you again, John.
You know, Tim, as I said about a book by Tim, but I'm incorrect on that. It's a translation of Alan Sullivan with the book, and you helped with that, and of course you were a good friend of Alan's. Can you tell us, before we get started on the book, tell the folks a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I graduated from Moorhead High in '68, from Yale in '72, and I'm the author of like 9 books of poetry, 6 of which are published and 3 of which are forthcoming.
Okay. Well, what's got you involved with this project?
Alan was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia shortly after I returned to the church in 2005. And although he was an atheist, he was a spiritual seeker, and he mystified me because he asked me to read him the Book of Psalms, which over the course of a month I read it to him twice. And it was actually the Psalms that occasioned his conversion.
Okay. Well, it seems like then this may have been a difficult book to write. Talk about Alan's work in trying to translate these Psalms, and of course, and almost dealing with his life issues.
Well, Alan was a great verse translator. He and I did the translation of the Beowulf, the Anglo-Saxon epic, which is in the Longman anthologies and studied by literally hundreds of thousands of college kids. And we did that in 2000. The difficulty in doing this is, first of all, he didn't know Hebrew. And you don't pick it up like you pick up Anglo-Saxon. I mean, 40% of our language is Anglo-Saxon. It's our parent language. King David is so far apart, 3,000 years, different family of languages, different alphabet. But the greatest difficulty was that he started the project having just been told that he had 10 days to live. And in fact, he was undergoing chemotherapy and taking heavy doses of painkiller and steroids. And he managed to live for 15 months, and it took a superhuman effort of will for him to complete this project.
How important do you think finishing this book was to him?
Well, it's what gave him his last 15 months, and it was his thanksgiving to God for turning around his life at its very end.
You talked about translation, but he was assisted, I believe, by a biblical scholar and consultant, Sari Cohen Zohar. Can you talk about that relationship?
Yeah, Alan started this on Easter Sunday, 2009, and I said, Alan, if you're going to translate David, you have to get our friend in Jerusalem, Sari Zohar, to help you. And he said, oh no, I can do this just using resources on the internet. And about 5 days later, he said, you know, Tim, if I'm going to do this project, I think I better get Sari Zohar to help me. And I responded, great idea, Alan.
Well, sometimes it doesn't matter who comes up with the idea, just so that it happens, right?
And, you know, on some of these Psalms, I would see an exchange of, say, 70 emails. Sari is an awesome scholar of classical Hebrew. And Alan's goal was to make a poetic translation. Hers was to make an absolutely accurate translation.
Okay. How many Psalms did David write, and what do you know about when he wrote these and how?
Well, in our Bible, we attribute 73 to David. However, the Jews and Sari and Alan translated 78. And have good reason to think that he wrote all of those. David was, of course, the son of Jesse, a shepherd boy who succeeded King Saul, who united the tribes of Israel and established Jerusalem as capital. He was a king, he was an adulterer, he was a mass murderer, a genocidal maniac, and the most important lyric poet in history. 3.6 billion people regard David as the Word of God, all of Islam, all of Christendom, and all of Jewry. And all of this around 1030 BC, so 3,000 years ahead of us.
Can you talk about the style these Psalms are written in, and how Alan was really able to translate them accurately?
Yeah. We believe that they were all essentially song lyrics, because there are constant references to musical instruments throughout the Psalms. And they would have been performed to music and with dancing. David wrote in 2, 3, and 4 beat lines. And Alan writes in 2, 3, 4, and 5 beat lines. It takes a great many more syllables to say something in English than it does in classical Hebrew. David did not use rhyme, but he used a lot of alliteration. And the problem with all of our translations is that they're basically prose. When I read these things in church, people actually come up to me and say, "We didn't know that David was a poet." So the notion here was to create in powerful metrical English poetry the closest approximation to the experience that a Jew can experiences when hearing it in classical Hebrew.
Well, Tim, understand too, you've got a special guest with us today that's maybe going to perform a couple of these Psalms for us. Can you tell us about him, and then we'll have him sing one?
Yes, I've been teaching at Shanley about 10 days a year for the last 2 years, and just having a blast. And one of the things that I teach is the Sullivan Psalms to the freshman religion classes. And Alex Seefelt is junior class president over at Shanley, and he's one of the 2 or 3 boys who has the best ear for meter of any of the kids that I've taught. When he studied the Psalms with me 2 years ago, he said he wanted to set them to music. He's an aspiring composer. And I'd like Alex to chant, in Gregorian chant, Psalm number 8, which was the first psalm that Alan did on Easter 2009. I think it's a shepherd boy psalm, and what David is doing is he is paying tribute to the creation myth in Genesis for his great forebear Moses in a very short and beautiful poem.
Okay, well, let's take a listen.
Lord our Master, how great is your name on earth. Your glory outreaches the heavens. In the mouths of infants and sucklings, you put strength to silence your foes, the enemy bent on vengeance. I look to the heavens, your handwork, the moon and stars you have set. What is man that you mark him, or the Son of Man you endow? You have made him almost as God, bestowed on him glory and honor, granted him rule of your handwork, all things you have placed at his feet. All of the sheep and oxen, likewise the beasts of the field, birds of the air, fish of the seas, coursing the paths of the sea. Lord our Master, how great is your name on earth.
Thank you, Alex. Stick around. We'd ask you to sing one more for us in just a little while. So now, Tim, coming back to you, I think actually you have one you're going to read to us.
Yeah, I'm going to read a more ambitious psalm that no doubt comes from later in David's life. It's Psalm number 33. And here Alan begins in 3-beat lines, then the center of the poem is in 4-beat lines, and then the last part of the poem is in 3-beat lines. Psalm 33, unattributed, King David authorship presumed. Rejoice in the Lord, you righteous, the praise of the just is fitting. Adore the Lord with the harp, strum on the 10-stringed lyre. Sing a new song to the Lord, play it with skill and verve, for the word of the Lord is pure, and all that he does will endure. He loves justice and judgment, the earth abounds with his grace. By the word of the Lord was the firmament made. From the breath of his mouth sprang heavenly hosts. He gathered the sea waters, rounded them out. He vaulted the deep to hold them like treasures. Let the whole world revere the Lord. Let earth's dwellers be struck with awe. He spoke, all was. He enjoined, all stood. The Lord annuls the designs of nations. He frustrates human contrivances. The Lord's design endures forever, his heart's intention for all generations. Blessed the people whose God is the Lord, the nation granted inheritance. The Lord looks down from heaven, beholding the sons of men. From his dwelling place he presides over the dwellers on earth. He formed their hearts alike. He assesses all their deeds. No king will be reprieved by the hugeness of his host. No mighty fighters saved by strength however great. A horse is a phantom of safety. Its vigor secures no escape. The Lord's eye lights on the reverent, on those who yearn for his goodness, to rescue their souls from death, to keep them alive in famine. Our soul has awaited the Lord. He is our help and shield. Our heart will rejoice in the Lord, for we trusted his holy name. Bestow your grace, O Lord, in accord with our yearning for you. Now, John, as you can hear, this stuff rocks.
Powerful.
And let's just take that 17th verse. A horse is a phantom of safety. Its vigor secures no escape. In King James, that is, an horse is a vain thing for safety, neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. Now, you know, if you've gone to Protestant churches, and that's what you've heard, you don't understand what the poetry is all about. In the RSV version, the war horse is a vain hope for victory, and by its great might it cannot save. Same thing. So that's the reason for this translation.
What's been the reaction to the book so far, and how do you intend to promote it?
Well, it was just published in June. However, right after Alan died, I started publishing the poems in the best poetry and Christian magazines I could find. And several really superb formal poets took individual poems and wrote essays around them, which told the story. So we have carefully prepared the ground for the book.
Okay. Is this a book churches or religious experts will be interested in?
Absolutely. And in point of fact, I'm available to compress my Shanley lecture for any church in town, any church in North Dakota which wants to hear it.
But why another translation? You said probably there's been hundreds over time.
Yeah, but none of them rock. What we wanted was to create poems in English that conveyed the feeling that the Jews get hearing David's powerful, metrical, alliterative poems.
What is your hope, and what do you want people to take away, you know, when they read this book?
I want it to bring them to God, just as David brought us to God.
Okay. You kind of talked about it, but what was the hardest part for Alan as he worked through this? The most satisfying part?
Well, the hardest part was simply the disease. I mean, he was so sick he couldn't sleep in a bed. He slept in a chair for 15 months. And I think he underwent chemo again twice during that period. You know, he was on this enormous regimen of medication. The most technically difficult thing was his unfamiliarity with Hebrew.
Okay. Most satisfying completing the book, maybe? Or,
Yeah,
uh,
and I mean, he finished it on June 20th of 2009, and he was dead on July 9th. He finished it, he went into the hospital, into intensive care, and died. All of us devout people who were watching this performance regarded this as a work of the Holy Spirit.
Okay. Well, Tim, we've had you on the show before, and with your works, what are you currently working on?
Well, I've fallen in love with my publisher, Dakota Institute Press, which is the publisher of this. They published 3 books of mine last year, and I have a triple volume coming out next year. So I'm, as you know, John, I'm retired from financial services and farming, and I'm just writing up a storm.
Tim, very quickly, if people are interested, where can they get more information, or where can they get the book?
From Zambros, from Barnes & Noble, any bookstore, but better yet, just go to www.fortmandan.org, click into Dakota Institute Press, and order it directly from the foundation.
All right. Well, Tim, thanks for joining us. We're going to get Alex back in here for one more psalm. Joining us now is Alex Seefeld, a junior at Shanley High, formerly sophomore class president. I believe Tim may have promoted you there earlier, but what got you involved singing works like this?
Well, Tim came and taught us at Shanley a couple of times, and one year he brought the Psalms of King David and taught us all about them. And he said that they needed to be set to music, and I immediately got interested in that and started working on some of that. And later on, he called me and approached me about appearing on TV to sing one of my psalms. So that's what I'm here to do today.
Well, and before we get to that, what's it like to study poetry at Shanley under your teacher, Tim Murphy?
Well, I haven't had Tim too many times, but when I do, he always has just rich stories to tell us, and all sorts of culture that I'm not normally exposed to, I get to see through him.
I understand you're a composer, and in fact, you're composing some of the works of the Psalms here. Can you tell us about your composing?
Well, I really appreciate having these psalms because you just have a huge book full of text to work with, and the text is really what inspires the song for me. Like, I read the text and the song kind of comes from it, and it's really nice to have all this poetic text of the Psalms that I can use.
Well, with that said, Alex, I understand you've picked out another one, and now you've composed this Psalms that you're going to sing for us.
Yes, I did. It's a Psalm of Humility.
Psalm of Humility. So would you sing that for us, please?
I sure can.
Lord, my heart is not haughty, my eyes not proudly raised, nor do I meddle in matters too marvelous for me. I have gentled and silenced my soul, like a child weaned from its mother. My soul is a weanling child. Israel, hope in the Lord, now and forevermore.
Shelley Pinsky from Glendon, Minnesota compares the art of jewelry making to sculpting, as she forms metal and precious stones into magnificent one-of-a-kind pieces. Her jewelry reflects her love of nature and her passion for creativity.
Found objects and the assembly of things are just such a strong part of me as an artist and what I create. A lot of my work is very primitive. I love neutral, natural tones. Like a piece of amber, it's like when you pick it up, it's just such a warm color and it's got such a glow to it. When you're working with the elements of art and thinking about the color, the texture, the line, the shape, I'm really influenced by thinking about the whole piece. And so I'm always very conscious of the positive and the negative space. So I'll try to create works where the light can pass through the amber. The stone really drives the design. When I see the stone, I will trace the stone on paper and go from there and start working with a design, that I think will accent the stone so that the stone is still the focus. I'm always interested in fossils. I think the first time I heard that amber was actually tree sap, and that it can be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. The fact that amber is just this precious thing from the past that actually is like this looking glass to the past, and you can see the things that are trapped in it. It's just another part of the beauty and the natural part that I appreciate. I think the fact that I grew up in a small town, I was the little tomboy. I was always out there in the pasture, helping them fix the electric fence and get the wiring tight. I loved the working with the metal. I just got so attached to it. So as a kid, I didn't even know that I was, working towards that in my life, but I really see that as being a strong influence. Jewelry making is really sculpting in a much smaller scale. You have to make sure that you're thinking about how you're going to hang that piece at the end, so you have to do some more extensions on it than you visually would think the finished piece would look like. So you make a pattern. I'll take a piece of just a base metal then, the copper, attach my tracing paper to that, and using a saw, just a little hand saw, cutting that out. I'm a putzer. I like to do, a little bit of everything rather than just kind of sticking to one thing and continually doing that over and over again. A lot of that comes from being a teacher, because when you bring it up in this section, it actually goes from darker, because it's darker than this area. It's my 27th year at Glendon teaching. I teach this year 6 different classes and keep really busy working with lots of different mediums, lots of different processes. Pounce with the eraser a little bit and lighten those parts up that you need to, and keep it clean. Oh, my students inspire me all the time, and at the high school level, it's always fun to see when they are inspired, excited, have new ideas. If you need an eraser, you need to come on up and grab one. We pulled out a couple more. This is such a crucial part. You can hear it getting all of that rough edge off. It's all to the touch. Once you get a look that's very smooth, you know that you're finished. I'm planning whether I'm going to have a polished looking piece or an antique looking piece. We need to make the copper pliable so that we can add the texture to it. I always wanted to learn how to do metalsmithing, so I spent a summer, took my vacation money and went to Bemidji and took a metalsmithing class, and that's where it all started. Once it's gotten a dull red glow, then you're ready to just quench it in the water. The pieces that I'm working with right now and the amber that I'm working with is fairly symmetrical and very thick. It's like a big, thick amber bead. I love the warm qualities you get with copper and brass with those pieces. At this point, we're going to heat our wire that we're using for the rivet. I love sculpture. I love teaching sculpture. And I really think that that's why jewelry making became such an interest to me. Yeah. Sculpting is just such a big part of my life. I think I relate to so many different parts of my life when I sculpt. And here's the rivet that I made. I'm going to insert that into here. And the very last part of this is attaching the amber to it. There it is. Just a very rustic kind of sculptural piece. It pleases me, and it's my goal to make works that are durable and will last forever. And when I hear somebody that says, you know, this is the one piece I know I can wear and wear and wear, and it's always going to be, you know, something that I'll treasure and I'll pass on. I've had that compliment, and that made my day.
Well, that's all we have on Prairie Pulse for this week. And as always, thanks for watching.
Funding for Minnesota Legacy programs are provided by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, and by the members of Prairie Public.